and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pullze Check podcast. I'm going to start this off by saying I did not think we would be having a podcast today, but we did an emergency podcast, and I'm going to be honest, I have my hands up. I might have stirred the pot. I might have stirred up the pot to my EU folk. Boys, talk to me, man. So for those of y'all watching at home, wherever it may be, and don't have context, yesterday... Okay, we're gonna put the clip so you guys can see it in the YouTube video. But for those of y'all who are watching right now, pretty much we had a podcast yesterday talking about World Series of Warzone, and I made some comments about EU and their qualification spots and how many they should have and where those spots should go. And I'm gonna be honest, not a lot of people agreed with me. Boys, Gromalok and FIFA, you guys know I fucking love you guys. But I'm gonna stand on business here. I do not take back what I said, and I still agree with what I said, but I want to hear different perspectives, and I want to hear what you guys think. I will say, I think a lot of people kind of twisted my words on what exactly I meant, but I can pretty much, I'll real quick give you guys a summary of what exactly, maybe the clip was cut too short or too long or whatever. Long story short, we were talking about that Call of Duty added more spots for the World Series of Warzone, right? It went from 34 teams to 40 teams, right? So that's 6 extra spots. NA got 3 extra spots and EU got 3 extra spots. So what I had said was, I think NA, because of how good NA is depth-wise, right? Like there's a lot of pretty decent teams. There's one really good team, like 1 to 2 to 3, I guess maybe 4 or 5 A-tier teams, and then a bunch of B-tier teams, in my opinion, for NA. And so I think if there's 17 spots for NA, that's good because we have a really good, like, middle of the pack, if that makes sense. And obviously, our top dogs are the top dogs. And then I said, EU has a really good top 5, and then after that, it drops off heavily. Like, their middle of the pack, in my opinion, is not up there. And again, I came loaded today. I'm not going to show it. I have screenshots. I'm not going to show it, but I have screenshots. If you guys want me to read them, I will. But pretty much EU players saying their customs are shit. And, hey, I won't say who said it, but so I pretty much said, yo, those 3 extra spots for EU, because EU got 14 spots, and then now 3 more would be 17. I said, I think that those 3 spots should go to APAC. They should get 2 spots instead of 1. Latin America North should get 4 spots instead of 3, and then Latin America South should get 3 spots instead of 2. So that's pretty much what I said. But then I feel like we've all I don't know. I feel like that kind of got twisted somewhere along the lines, and everybody's just like, Hector hates EU. Hector, and I'm like, oh, bro.
One thing is, I'll jump in there really quick. Is like you said, the clip that was cut, that more built out explanation of it is not considered there at all. So it looks a lot worse than it is. But for wait, I can hear an echo. Who's giving me an echo right now? Who is it?
Josh, if you're in the give me 2 seconds.
Okay. It's his speaker coming through his mic, FIFA.
Oh, okay. So
I'm hearing that Deuce Amir wants to hop in, so I don't know if
where is Deuce from? Is he in Mexico?
He ended stream. Yes. He's still alive. Still alive.
Wait, Amir, you're down? Amir, check your Twitter DMs. I'm going to send you a link. Put your camera and your mic to that link, okay? I low-key like this. I like the discussion, boys.
Wait, is Amir in Mexico?
Yeah, he's from Latin America, I believe, North.
Okay, perfect.
Do you guys want to wait, or do we just talk about it now until he gets in here? I don't care. Up to you guys.
I mean, I feel it's going to be just more of the same. I don't think...
Okay.
Like, he can jump in and understand the flow, I feel like.
All right, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so my main thing is, right, I would agree that currently right now, the EU quality as a whole in terms of depth is less than NA, right? I'd agree with that. But my argument of this whole thing, and what it's always been, which people misconstrue because everybody kind of just blanket statements like, oh, EU is worse than NA in terms of competition. And that's not what I'm saying, right? I don't disagree with that. My main focus is the reasoning for this, right? You think Warzone's been heavily dominated by NA for a long time, and that's largely because of tournaments have always been based on viewership invites, right? This has always been a thing. So whoever had the invites, got to play, right? And this meant that people who are maybe better players had worse teams, because you might have a case where you have 2 good guys getting picked up by a content creator, and then those people might not be winning. That doesn't mean they're worse, they just don't have an invite as a set team. And that was always something that people, it was a problem that Warzone had because of the way Activision did their funding, but it's something that we always strive to move away from to build out a competitive scene, right? So this is like the basis of everything that happened, just as like a backstory for people that don't understand. But when that happened, right, we start giving invites to people. I remember like the Omit guys, it was a big thing for them, like seeing people like Braxton start to get invites, and then they get to start competing, and then all of a sudden they go from being people you haven't really seen winning to being one of the best teams in NA, right? And that's happening for NA now. But those people still had a chance to compete. For EU, those teams that were kind of, maybe on the edge of becoming great or having a chance, they got shut out when Verdansk ended. EU tournaments disappeared, EU customs disappeared, because in Europe, all the big content creators didn't play tournaments. So they didn't have anyone to backpack their way into those tournaments. So the good players had to go and get jobs. It wasn't a realistic thing for them to pursue playing tournaments, which is why whenever you see World Series announced, all of a sudden this huge wave of EU talent comes back, because they have a set goal in mind that they can grind towards, with the promise of there being money eventually where they actually have a realistic chance to make it a job, which is obviously the goal that we all have, right? So there hasn't been a set structure in place for European players to get involved, because all of the audience and all the like advertising money has always been NA. And that's completely fine. If you want to accept that and just be like, okay, well, that's just how it is, RIP EU, then fine. But we're always talking about building out the comp scene and making it the best it can be. And if that's the case, then you have to give everybody this opportunity. There's millions of people in Europe that play the game, that watch the game, to just completely disregard the whole continent and remove those spots just because at the current state, those people aren't as good. Who's to say if they didn't get the equal practice and invites, they wouldn't be better? If this had been the whole other way around and EU would got all the invites and it had always been EU tournaments at EU times with EU hosts, who's to say we wouldn't be the ones on top? And my whole point of this whole thing is, you can't just take away those spots from EU, because then it's never going to build out. The problem's not going to get better. It's not going to be EU magically gets better and we start proving ourselves. It's just going to make less and less EU players play. And then before you know it, there'll be none left. And then you say, yeah, okay, there's 5 top teams in EU. Well, that's because those 5 teams, or those players who are bouncing in amongst those teams, are the ones who have been invited. Your Warzes, your me, your Jukies. The guys who do manage to get their invites and claw their way into these tournaments. They've been practicing consistently, and that's why they're a level above the rest. But now we have World Series announced, and all of a sudden you get all these really good players coming back. Like, I would assume a lot of the NA guys wouldn't even have known some of the good teams from EU last year, but you see guys like AJ Wars, like an underdog team, come in and get top 5. I mean, half of the top 10 were EU teams, and that's with an EU comp scene that's been literally left in the dust for 3 years straight. So my point isn't like, okay, I think NA is as good as EU, because it's not. But my argument is that if we don't get given the opportunity, then that's never going to build out. And I think we're losing a lot of the talent pool and a lot of the viewership pool. So if the end goal is to, improve Warzone as a comp scene, just getting rid of EU is not a good thing to do, I don't think. Especially if you look at other like esports, EU is usually better. Not always, but EU's extremely dominant.
No, you're especially in keyboard and mouse games for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in a lot of those games, and there's also just a huge viewership there. So it's like, why get rid of all the players, all the talent, and the viewership, just because you aren't there's no willingness to try and encourage that talent to grow. That's my whole argument of this whole thing.
Okay, I'm gonna add something there. I think that I understand, and I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but what I don't want you to twist my words into saying I think EU should be completely gone. All I'm saying, those 3 extra spots should have gone to APAC, Latin America South, Latin America North. I agree with you 1000%. And I mean, maybe you might not know this, but you can ask Enigma, and we're trying behind the scenes to try to include EU as much as possible and grow them. Everything you just said, completely understand. No one is saying take away EU. That is completely against what I want to do. My goal is to grow the EU scene. But what I'm saying is, if they're not going to be performing on LAN, I don't care about Twitter tournaments, any of that stuff. That's what their numbers, the same way that Apex does. If they perform statistically better on LAN, they should get more spots. And that's basically the argument that I was saying. And it's not about get rid of EU. No. Like, average World Series of Warzone placement for EU was 28th place. Average North America placement was 21st. That is 7 whole spots. And right now, you're FIFA. I 1000% agree with you. Like there shouldn't, don't take away EU, but yo, instead of 17 spots, give them 14, and then make some room for APAC. Instead of just 1, give them 2. Latin America North, give them 3. Or sorry, 4. And then Latin America South, give them 3. Right? Like that's basically the argument I was saying.
Like distributing spots out more, because there are, like, I mean, my entire argument, it also backs up the argument for OCE, APAC, whatever. There are like really good players in other regions who literally just don't get that chance. So I completely agree with that. Like if there are added spots, they should be going to other. I mean, those spots that weren't there in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, so they should be given to other people. But I think figuring out like which portions and how many get given where needs like more careful consideration.
Okay.
Than just, let's just take these spots from EU and give them to other people. I think at face value, that just looked bad.
Yeah, I get it. I completely understand. I'm going to be honest. Like, I want you guys to see it from, I saw them tweet that out last night. I was like, oh, some people are going to get mad. But I didn't think anything. I was like, oh, I'll go to bed, but like, whatever. And I wake up and just fucking, it was hate left and right, crazy DMs. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? And like, again, I'm not like I've echoed what, I'm be honest, boys, I'm not trying to put any blame on anybody, but I've echoed what the EU pros have said. They've all said, you guys want to play with NA scrims because it makes y'all better. And y'all don't want us to separate the two, right? You guys all say that EU scrims are not good scrims because you're getting poor practice. And I'm quoting verbatim, right? Like,
no, that's definitely true, 100%.
So all I was saying there was, if that's true, right, and their quality isn't as good of like competitive teams, then I think we should bring that down to the other APAC, Latin America, North, South, right? So the reason why I say that is, in my opinion, the top, none of you guys, not Gromalok, not FIFA, not fucking Echo, none of y'all are not going to qual whether there's 14 to 17 spots. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think you guys are too good that no matter what, they give you guys 17 spots or 14, you guys are going to qual. It's a matter of the bottom teams, right? Do they deserve the spot, or does Latin America North or South, right? So that was just kind of my argument, and I definitely think, I mean, it was taken out of context because of the clip, which is completely okay. I understand. I know what I fucking sign up for when I do this. I know that I'm not gonna make everybody happy. I know I'm gonna piss people off. For me, it's always my intentions, and if my intentions are pure, my intentions are good, then people can hate me, and that's okay, right? But like, so for this, I mean, I just kind of, I'm glad, FIFA, to hear your perspective. I completely understand now. I'll ask a question right now, but I just know, FIFA, behind the scenes, and we can talk about it on the phone tonight. I just want you to know we're working really hard to try to help EU as much as possible when it comes to this kind of stuff. For those of y'all who don't know, right? For those of y'all who don't understand, like the reason why NA is so far ahead of EU is only, in my opinion, only because of one thing. Is just because NA marketing team chooses to spend their marketing budget on tournaments. EU has their own marketing team. They choose to spend that on something else that's not tournaments, right?
That might be a little bit off, only because the budgets might be significantly different too.
Okay.
If EU's budget's only 10 grand and NA's is 20 million, of course it's going to, well, I mean, that's obviously I made a drastic number difference.
Well, the other
you know what I mean?
Europe
That's kind of the point, right? Like,
yeah. The other problem that Europe has versus NA is that in Europe, you've got fucking 50 different countries that all speak a different language and have different brands and endorsements and whatever. So like all the money gets pulled in 8 different ways. Whereas in NA, obviously, you've got a huge country with 400 million people that all speak the same language and buy the same shit. So that's another contribution.
Also, I feel like people forget there's only so much that Hector, myself, anybody else doing the comp stuff that's not a part of the decisions where money goes or whatever, what events are hosted. There's only so much that we can do. And I promise you that Hector, myself, we have tried our absolute best to get EU, everybody else involved, teams that, bro, I was picking up Levi and Limax on 180 ping because I knew they're just good players. They just need an opportunity, even though they're on 180 ping. Like, I think people forget that, like, there's really only so much we can do in order to build the EU side of things. And I feel like the only way it happens is if it's built internally. But when we have people telling us, yo, scrims in Europe suck, like, there's just the bottom half of teams are just free plates. Like, these are things I'm quoting literally from EU competitors. Like, we're just going to focus on NA scrims then and try and build that and hope that we can include you guys in that to make it as competitive as possible. But at the end of the day, there's only so much that we can do, and we're trying to help include everybody. It's not like, it's not like Hector or myself want to see EU fail or anything like that. So I think that's where people get mixed up too. It's like, I want to see the best of the best all the time. If we can get to World Series and it's the best players, like I wanted to have 100 lobby where we had 100 people invited from different regions, and then everybody had a qual on land. That would have been sick. That way it's not region based. It would have been the best of the best. Everybody could have qual, but that's in a perfect world. So
yeah, I think at the end of the day, there's just a lot of pent up frustration because EU's been left out so many times. I mean, bro, you look at Pentagon and Fuzz and them, right? They were one of the top teams in Verdansk, right? They were like neck and neck with us for the World Series, and they haven't had a tournament invite until this year for like 3 years into any of the NA customs. And then like, how can you ever expect them to do well? So and then if those guys who have thousands of viewers and were competing for a World Series 2 years ago can't even get in, how is some up and comer gonna even? Where do you even start? Like, there's just no roadmap or like hope for any of them. And I think there's that built up frustration, and then you've got the added addition of the tournaments start at midnight and they go till 5 a.m. If you've got a job, you're fucked. If you have a family, you're fucked. You're on 150 ping. And then people tell you that ping doesn't matter, but it definitely does, because anytime other teams get told to play off ping, they don't want to do it. Like, bro, if there hasn't been a single 100K on EU ping this year, and I guarantee you, if they said they were going to, all the Americans would be pissed, because it does make a difference. And I'm not saying it has to be EU ping, because it doesn't, and it's an NA tournament, and it's majority NA. That's fine. But, like, at least acknowledge it. Because when we're just being told all day, this doesn't make a difference. You're just getting shit on. You're just worse. When you're just objectively at a disadvantage, it just doesn't make you want to keep grinding. And you just know the world's against you. Like, it's a hopeless battle, basically. You know what I mean? And then you see these clips come out like, oh, we should take regions from EU. And we've already lost all the hosts. It used to be split host. Then it was East. Now it's all Central. And it's like, you just keep losing more and more and more. And then, you guys, I mean, you do have a lot of influence. And then when you see clips like that, I mean, whether out of context or not, come out and say we should take some spots from EU, it just feels like another hit to the EU scene of like, oh, we're going to lose more spots. Less people are going to be able to do it. And it just feels hopeless, basically.
I want to hear what Gromalok, what do you think pops of just everything? I just kind of want to, I know we haven't heard from you yet, so just kind of want to hear everything you have to say on the whole subject.
No, I think FIFA cooked. Yeah, it's very hard to be a EU player, I'd say. I'd say it's still possible to climb the ladder, because I think we kind of did this year, climb the ladder from being in the EU pool players and, I don't know, being invited and showing up and even getting invited in the pod and everything. Still, it was very hard because we made many sacrifices. We trained a lot and stuff, and it's not possible for everyone in EU to do the same. As FIFA said, they have to work and everything. It's not financially stable to be a Warzone EU player, for sure. But yeah, no, I think I think people are grinding, but they don't have much opportunities. Yeah, but I'm not convinced that like the bottom teams of NA, like the bottom 20, are like better than like the mid pool of the EU teams,
Okay.
If you put them in the same lobby, same ping, I think the result would be very mixed, more than you think, I think. Yeah. Because hopefully, I mean, obviously NA is top heavy too, like it's clearly top heavy too, NA. I mean, yeah, clearly.
Yeah,
I don't know what you think about that, but there are a few good teams in NA. I'd say like there is like maybe 1 or 2, then 5, 6, but then drop off, and you have the same in NA, in EU, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess here's kind of my question to you then. If you guys think that, right, and we know us, we want to give you guys an opportunity as much as you guys can to get better and to grow, right? If you guys think that like that level of competition is it's not as drastic as we say, right? You guys, and again, we're gonna do what everybody wants, right? We have the group chat for a reason, but we said, yo, should we split NA and EU to like separate? And I will host EU scrims and NA scrims, and I'll do them both. I don't mind doing it. I love this shit, right? But you guys told us, no, we want to get good practice. We want to play with the NA guys, right? Which I agree, combining them the two is the perfect move. So the thing is, you have to like, how do we make that fair, right? How do we fine tune it? Because I talked to Nicewig and we talked about how they do it in Apex. And in Apex, they do NA only scrims, EU only scrims. And in my opinion, if we do that, what FIFA said will come true. If we do just EU and NA, EU is going to take a while to catch up. And that's just what's going to happen, because the better your competition is, the better you're going to get, right? In Apex, they do just NA, just EU. I was just talking to Nicewig about this, but then whenever there's a LAN that they call, oh, what's up, Amir? Yo, it's good, baby. All right, let me finish this and I'll introduce you now. And what happens there is, as soon as they call for the LAN, they then have scrims of everybody together. But he said it's very hard because somebody always gets fucked, because NA hosts for them, and then Oceania or whatever is on like 200, 300 ping, and they just do it. But somebody's always complaining about it. But there's nothing really that they can do to make it better. So my question is to you guys. You guys tell us you want us to combine scrims and make it one big pool, right? And so how do we make that fair? Because when we host these scrims, and I'll be honest, transparently, I could do a better job at this. I thought, and I mean, Shifty said it's always NA East, but I thought all my dojos are NA East. The only time that they should be changing to NA Central is if they have, if there's server issues. But I thought that it was NA East. Shifty said it's always been NA East, so I don't know. But then you guys are telling me different, so I gotta go.
I've been on 150 ping for the last 3 weeks. That's fucking. We play like 3 East maps, and then a bunch of people in the match chat, dude, I'm lagging, and then boom, straight to Central.
Central. Yeah. So I'm assuming maybe it's that, right? We tell them to switch if it's like the servers are laggy. But what do we do? Because I just went and I look back, right? And I'm asking you guys, FIFA and Gromalok, what do us as like the hosters do to make things fair? Because if I went back and I looked, there's anywhere from 2 to 7 EU teams in our lobbies, in the customs, right? How do we make that fair for the other 29 to 24 teams? If you were going to host EU, like we could do an East and just always leave it at an East, which is fine with me. If we do one EU and back and forth, then like, is EU benefiting or whatever? Like, how do we make this fair? Because at the end of the day, someone's always going to get fucked in this. In my opinion, there's no way to make it fair. And the only way to make it fair is to separate them. NA, EU. But then we're in the fucking cycle again. How does EU get better? You know, so I'm all ears. Ebatez, JGOD, let me know if you have anything to add to that. I really just want to give you guys the best scenario possible. And as you guys know, any tournament that I've ever hosted, I always do open quals and anybody can play, because I want everybody to join. I'm talking about like the big ones, like the Activision approved ones, Baka Wonderland, all that shit, right? So talk to me, guys. Like how do we find a good, like where's the middle ground here?
I mean, I already said this to Jukies and Len, but I feel like this is an unpopular take as far as the EU guys go, because they want practice now. In my opinion, I think we do what you said. I think EU scrim in the morning, NA scrim in the evening, and then once we know who's qualified from each region, then those people practice against each other every day. Because at the end of the day, why do the EUs need to practice against the NAs if they're not even going to play against them? And there should be at least a month between the LAN and the regional final, which gives you a month of scrimming every single day if you want to practice against the NAs that you are going to be playing against, which is a decent amount of time to get some prep done. I mean, it's not like a perfect solution, but it's definitely better. And then when those combined scrims happen, it should be split host 3 and 3 or something like that. And I mean, I know what you said about, you know, for example, I mean, just on paper, right? What you said about, we have, say, 7 teams that are EU in a scrim is giving them half the host, you know, giving them an advantage. How is that an advantage? Because at the end of the day, those teams will be on good ping for a couple of maps, and everyone's going to be on ping for the equal amount of maps. Like, obviously, the amount of teams is swayed, whatever, but everyone's going to be on ping and off ping for the same amount of maps regardless, so no one's at an advantage. I mean, obviously, it's annoying to be off ping, but, I mean, I've heard people say ping doesn't matter, so fuck it. Let's just put us on EU, bro. Like,
okay, I mean, so, look, I guess then what would be the right thing to do here? Because if we're saying a central host, technically East is central, right? But if we're going to be alternating hosts, that I feel like that's then every West player gets fucked. Because if we do, how would you do that?
If you do NA and EU host, I mean, you could either do, say if you did 6 games, you could do 2 West, 2 East, 2 EU, because then it's like all across the board. Or you do what we do when we play 2v2s. I mean, this has been a thing since Verdansk, host fucking. Like, everyone would have a... No, I mean, it's been a thing. You would play your opponent, and if you were playing West players, or there was an East guy, you'd say, okay, are we going to do all East, or are we going to host fuck? We're going to do 2 West, 2 EU. And that's just how it always was. And it's like, whatever scenario you pick it as being the most fair, if you do a vote, I don't know, whatever the players decide, it will be, you know, at least it's democracy, you know? Like, if we decide, okay, we're going to host fuck, we're going to do West for a few games, then EU for a few games, everyone's still going to be on even ping at the end of it, right? Like, no one's going to be at
the average, yeah.
So would you say then, like, 3 on West, 3 on EU?
I think it would have to be a vote. See, me personally, I'd rather do 3 West and 3 EU, because being on 30 ping, even compared to 100 on East, is still a significant difference. The biggest difference comes between that low ping and around the triple digits. That extra between 100 and 120 and then 150, it adds, but it's not like insane. You want to be on ping. You know what I mean? That's why we play at LAN, because there is a significant difference. That low ping number is what's so key. So I would rather personally play EU and then West. But that is like, you know, that's the way I would do it.
Okay.
I can't speak for everyone.
Before we continue, I want to intro my boy, Mr. Amir, Pinche Chulio. What's up, Amir? What's up, man?
What's good, boys? Happy to be here. I was hearing you guys talk about everything and nothing. I'm excited to share some of my thoughts, but I'm just gonna follow the flow and keep listening to you guys until I have something good to say.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to ask you, Amir. I mean, I guess let's get you up to speed with the whole conversation that we had, right? I'm assuming you saw the clip of Pullze Check that was posted yesterday, right? That everybody's talking about. So kind of after hearing everything, what's kind of your opinion? Because I guess in turn, I was vouching for your region to have more spots. I know you are technically going to be biased because it is your spot, right? But what is your initial thoughts on that? Like, did you kind of understand what I was saying? Do you disagree or do you agree? Kind of, what's your take on all that?
Well, I think, I don't know. I think like the last year, Mexico by itself had 3 spots. And now we have like 10 countries more in our region. And I think if you go like, if you base your opinion on the amount of spots for region, if you put some value on viewership, you should maybe reconsider the spots for LATAM North, because I think the biggest community probably is NA, then EU, and there's probably us, like Mexico by itself. So, I mean, I don't want to like brag or something, but we are the 3rd most viewed community, like all Mexico, and add the other countries that we have now in our qualifier. So I think like if you're gonna say it's a World Series of Warzone, you should really like try to make it as like World Series as possible. So yeah, I think we should have at least one more spot. I think I know it's like biased because I'm there, but like last year, like considering how much like viewers our region had while we were in the tournament, I think that was like a direct message to Call of Duty to say like, yo, like Mexico and now all the countries that we have on our qualifier, like we have a solid community that likes like competition. So yeah, I think we should get another spot, 100%.
Okay. I mean, Amir, so if now, I guess the big question is this: if you guys get more spots, which again, I agree with, where do you pull that number from? Because at the end of the day, obviously now it's better. We have a little bit more leeway. We have 40 spots now. Yeah. Where do you pull those spots from, right? Where do you pull it from? EMEA, NA, or Latin America South, or APAC? Like, where do you see it working?
We have how many more spots? 6, 3?
So you have Latin America North has 3, Latin America South has 2.
Yeah, but I know like the new ones because the map is 120 now.
6 spots.
So
6 spots.
6 spots. I would say. What about like 3, like one extra on North, one extra on South, one extra on APAC, 2 to NA, and 1 to EU.
Okay. I wouldn't be
I like that.
opposed to that. What did you guys think, boys?
I think that's pretty good math.
Sounds fair.
That checks out.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Does that math add up? I don't know if I'm mathing.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think just so you guys know, there was no malicious intent from what I was saying. And even then, like, you could do NA 15 spots and we're chilling, right? But I just think that, bro, look at the team, Teeny and them. They had to come all the way over, and Levi and them. They have to come all the way to Canada to have a better chance of qualifying because they only got one spot. And I know
that's crazy.
War is a war zone. We're having growing pains, but that's what this is, boys. This is growth. We talk about things, growing pains, and things get better, right? So, I mean, Amir, I agree with what you said. Now, I guess let's kind of go back to the initial conversation at hand. What do you guys think? And Ebatez, JGOD, I want to hear what you guys have to think. How do we make things a little bit more balanced? Again, FIFA, what I will do is after this, I want to talk to the group chat and see what everybody thinks about your idea. Because remember, we had this conversation and you guys told us the opposite. You guys said, no, don't split us up. That'll be horrible. Keep us together. But again, I don't care. I'm down to switch it up. I want growth for you guys. Dude, these motherfuckers keep winning, bro.
Obviously, people want practice against the NAs, but it's not going to be fair in any way because you can't have the full side of the EU qualifiers in with the NAs. You can't have 200 people in the lobby. It doesn't work.
So here's my problem with what FIFA suggested is like splitting the host, especially for a match point format. If that's what we're doing scrims as, is just not going to work. I feel like that's just going to be very ping dependent. Like we won the game when we were on West Coast host and EU was on fucking 180p and getting fucked.
Yep.
And they couldn't win a gunfight. You know what I mean? I just don't think, especially in the match point format, like I understand the whole 2-2-2 if it was like a best of 6, like sure, I get it. But I think at the end of the day, just the answer is just host an EU one, early NA time. And then host a NA one, whatever, same time we've been doing for NA so that they don't overlap and people can pick and choose. If people from NA want to play in the EU one, they can wake up early and fill the lobby. And then if people from EU want to stay up late and fill the NA lobby, I think that's the best way. I feel like hosting different hosts in the same tournament and just putting people on different ping, like, I don't know. I don't think that's good practice for everybody. I think everybody's gonna be like, we're going from high ping, low ping, high ping, low ping. And then everyone's like, oh, well, they're on match point. They just won on low ping and they weren't doing shit on high ping. I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be super inconsistent and realistically it's just not good practice. That's just my opinion.
I mean, how do you practice then though after regionals when you've got all the teams that have qualified?
Surely
you could just forget the
best answer is probably NA East. And I know that's not like what you want to hear, but in my opinion, it's probably the best answer.
I'll take NA East, bro. I'm just sick of this. Central shit,
bro. I've been saying even in the 10Ks. I know you guys probably vouch. I've said it should always be on NA East. I'm like, why are we hosting Central? I always stood by that. So, but no, I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm down.
The difference is big.
Well,
100%.
It ends up getting wonky too because once we get the regionals over, the APAC, Latin regions or whatever, their ping would be super high if it's EU or whatever, if like they're all in the same lot. So there's no really winning. I think that once the regional, I do agree with FIFA that once the regionals are set, it would make sense to have those teams because then okay, these are these players' landing spots. So it'd be a little bit more like good practice versus right now, if you just come play on EU as an EU player on NA or vice versa, it's like, well, this team lands here, but they're not going to really land there when we do our NA scrims or whatever that we're doing or the EU scrim. So it's not really good practice in a sense because you're not going to even run into those players or have those landing spots. So it might be a little bit different unless you're just like, oh, we need team chem because we barely formed. And then maybe you just need those kind of reps. But I think once you've made it to the regional part, then it would make more sense. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know I want to just kind of throw something out and just so everybody's aware this is a business at the end of the day when it comes to Activision, right? And so I agree with you. And NA East is the most fair to the world, right? Or to EMEA, right? EU. But again, I don't know if their NA or the people throwing the tournaments would do NA East because it is an NA marketing tournament. So would they do East? I don't know. Obviously, that's feedback that we've been trying to get through, right? And just see what they decided. They decided to change their mind. But at the end of the day, their target demographic is North America, and it's not EU. So that's why they do the central servers to keep it like fair to just the NA, right?
Yeah,
so
it's just bad.
I get it, but that's why, again, for me, if I'm throwing customs, I will throw NA East. And again, FIFA, I'm talking to Dojo right now. I was under the impression that it's always been NA East as far as everything that I've thrown. And the only time we switch to Central is if the servers are chalked and you kind of have to or whatever. But maybe that's a game issue. I don't know. Right?
The majority have been Central because the East server that usually pulls, the Chicago one, I think it is just laggy. But like, I mean, it's kind of stuttery in the way, when you try and slide cancel and it's like a buggy server a little bit, you can notice it. But the bullet reg is infinitely better than when we play on Central.
You open the chest, 3 seconds later, it actually opens.
Yeah. So
it's not that bad. Like, you can feel it's clunky, but like the bullet reg is at least playable for the Europeans.
So
I think that one of the problems is that like, which is good, they've improved it from last year, the number of people that can qualify, because obviously they were invited teams last year. So they've already made a step in the right direction. And I think the real only way to solve it is to just make more spots in the entry level, where maybe it would be like top 150 in the beginning, and then there'd be like 7 groups or something stupid where you cycle through and then it can narrow down. And then by the time it gets to the end, people would have had more opportunities to get to a final, and they would have had opportunities to get to that point. The other regions, it kind of sucks because you can't really do the open part where you have 500 teams or whatever the hell you're going to have. You just have the custom, right? You just play a custom and that's it. You get place top 3 and you make it in, or that seems kind of ass way to make it in. Like, it only comes down to 5 games or what?
Are you talking about for?
Yeah, like for LATAM North and South. Like, and APAC, like they just play custom, right? You just play 5 customs and
Amir, it's like 2 sets. It's 2 sets of scrims, right, Amir? It's like stage 1 and stage 2?
Yeah, like on the 15 we have to play, I think, just 5 maps, and then that's a group. Those are 3 groups, my bad. 3 groups. Then on the 2022 we play 2 groups of 5 games, and then the half best of each group goes to like the final 6 games.
Okay.
So only 6 games counts for us. I think, I don't know, we're playing total, like 16 games, and only 6 count. I don't know. I would like to get like maybe some like two maps more.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with, like, bro, by the way, I know this is not technically part of what we're discussing, right? But like, I do having 5 games per group stage is kind of crazy. And then qualifying for London or wherever the fuck it's going to be 6 games is nuts. I think it should be 8 to 10 if people's like ticket to LAN. Yeah. Guys, that's not a leak. I always fuck it up. I swear that's not a leak. If like
maybe 5 per day for 2 days or something.
Yeah, but like 5 games, like I think group stages to be at least 6, and then at like the winners round 1, losers round 1, losers round 2, whatever, should all be 8 to 10 games. Like, I get it. It's if you're watching 2 regions, that's like 13-hour days, but bro, Apex does like 14-hour days, no troll. Like, in my opinion, y'all should have it increases the skill gap, and y'all shouldn't have to your whole future be decided on 5 games and then 6. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you want the best competition possible, you need to put more maps. But from the other side, you like, if you do only 5 games, that's like pretty exciting too. So I don't know. I prefer more competition, more skill gap, but I can see like the other like side of the coin. But I prefer like more games for sure.
More. So, all right, like, boys, what do you guys think needs to be changed going to next year? And I mean, I guess we can talk about that, the actual spots, right? Gromalok, do you know how Apex does how they determine who gets what?
In terms of spots?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
So, chat, I think this is, I'm gonna butcher this and people can get mad. UEFA? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, chat. That's the way.
UEFA?
Yeah. UEFA, whatever. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
UEFA. The way they do things, it's kind of Apex does it the same way, right? Depending on how you do on LAN, determines how many spots your region gets the next year, right? Do you guys think that should be the way it works, or do you guys think another way works better? What do you guys, Gromalok, what do you think? Obviously, we don't have multiple LANs a year. We only got one. Chat's on my ass right now. How would you?
I just see people say, "I love Madrid."
Gromalok, how would you? Do you like that
Yeah,
format?
no, that's what I'm thinking. We only had one LAN. I don't think we could base off right now. Imagine we do this for this year. That'd be a bit tough because I don't think EU are maybe that prepared last year or stuff like that because of the whole thing FIFA talked about at the beginning.
Yep.
Right now, let's say we have like decent trains, decent scrims, decent prep. Could be a good idea for every region to have this kind of format. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think we could perform to the scale we want to have enough spot for our region and so on for everyone, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes sense, yeah.
What about you, Fif? Do you like that system or do you not like the system?
The way we do like qualifying now?
Well, just the way Apex does how they determine how many spots people get is determined based off their LAN performance. I get theirs is different because they got like 3 LANs a year. So then they do one, see how they perform, and then the next one.
Do they do it like statistically based on like, is it like percent performance of the people who are playing?
Yeah.
So like if there was 3 EU teams and they finished like 1, 2, and 3, then it's like, holy shit, they're just different, and then they get more spots.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know the exact details. I just talked to Nicewig about it, and that's just the way that they like. It was a general description on how they do things. If depending on how well you do, determines how many your spots get. So like one of the examples was that if you like for I think right now, was it I think a Japanese team won World Series or not World Series, but their LAN, and so now going forward, they will get more spots. How many I don't know for the next qualifiers.
See, I think that's pretty cool because then that gives like you as like a European or an American like more of a reason to like want to put on for your continent or whatever, right? And then I think that makes more. I think it makes better viewing because there's more on the line. Even I think that's nice.
Yeah, I do agree. I like that whole format. I do think that I agree with what Gromalok said. I think Amir, somebody like 6 games, like 1 day last year is all we've had on LAN, and that's like such a small sample size, and I feel like it's definitely not fair to like judge anybody on that. And I've said that like throughout the day. It's like 6 games, 1 day is just crazy, and that's like we've based a lot of that off of like 1 day. Like a lot of people have gotten the recognition because of 1 day, or they've gotten crucified because of 1 day. I mean, think about somebody like Dongi, who's an incredible player, and he got judged on 1 day of 6 games. Like that is like it's actually like it's unacceptable. Like actually, like it actually frustrates me. It's like we shouldn't like have like this high standard. I understand that like that's the only time we've ever had like a LAN, and yes, LAN does mean something. I'm not trying to take away from Shifty or them. Like they did their thing, obviously, but it's like 1 day to have that huge judgment is just crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, also
doesn't Apex have double the competitors
and shit?
Yes, they do.
Then they like disqualify. They qualify.
So I think
online,
that's
right?
part of the difference too. Is we'd have to double up, so we have 240 players, and then we do a 2 day or something like that. The way that Apex does their 4 days, I think it'll eventually I think get to that point, and then you have twice as many NA teams, twice as many EU teams, twice as many of the other outer region teams that will be able to compete,
like,
and then it's just like then you could do the we're going to take these 3 slots. They didn't do well anyways. No big deal, And then it could be like something's on the line like FIFA was talking about where you have that like pride, like, oh shit, we're bringing extra slots to NA or EU or whatever the hell. Or like in Dusamir's case, they placed 4th in the World Series of Warzone, Like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
so,
like
they could have got like hella spots,
Yeah. But didn't somebody else place like in the top 10 with you guys too, or no? It was just one. Actually, no. It was just
Rodrigo got 14th, I believe. King Mati and Rodrigo, I'm pretty sure, got 14th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are now on our region. But Iceland and Mati, but Rodrigo, I think he's on South now. But yeah, like if you do the average placement for us, it shouldn't be that bad.
Okay. And for you guys, Amir, last year, how many spots did y'all have comparatively to now?
3, but only Mexico. Now we have 3,
Oh.
but there's like Mexico and like 10 countries more.
Oh, wait. So, okay. So last year, technically you guys have 5, right? Well, like last year, all of Mexico was its own like region and they had 3 spots for all of Mexico, right?
But they
Yeah,
got
one
grouped
for
this year.
yeah, and one for three last year, 3 for Mexico, 1 for South, 1 for North. But we were not considered like North last year.
Okay. So do you guys have more opportunity now to qualify or less?
One less spot, because he said NA or Latin North had 1 spot plus the Mexico's 3 would have been 4, but this year it's the same number of people but only 3 spots. That's
Now,
correct, right?
last time,
Last time it was just Mexico by itself, right?
yeah, Mexico and one region was like Ecuador, Colombia, that we have them now on our region, LATAM
Right.
North. And the other one was South, that it had Brazil, Argentina. So now all of that, we have 5. We have 5. We have 3 North, that is Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, and other countries. And South, you have Peru, you have Argentina, you have Brazil. Yeah, and those guys have 2. So we have
Okay.
5 now.
So
So
technically,
yeah, I think less,
less.
right?
which
Yeah.
again, crazy to me because
Crazy.
if you place top 4, you should have earned your team or your spot to get more spots, your region more spots, right?
I think so, and also I think like I don't know, like the viewership was crazy. Like I was
know.
a little shocked now that we only had 3.
Yep.
My boy Amir had like 20,000 viewers, bro.
I think the
Come
other
on, man.
problem too is last year there was 150 players, so realistically, we lost 10 teams, and they had to get taken from somewhere. I think NAEU lost, if you subtract those 10 teams, they lost quite a bit on the overall number just because the lobbies are smaller.
Right.
Yeah,
Like all the regions
that's
lost.
true.
Yeah.
What's it? EU got a bunch of places added as well. Like we went from just EU to EMEA, so we technically, quote unquote, already lost like spots.
And then
Right.
now you guys technically as well have like the open qualifiers was kind of not the greatest for y'all, huh?
Dude, okay, so this was one of the other reasons why I was saying about like if you're gonna take spots from like
You can go
a
back
certain place, right? If you were gonna take spots from a place, then maybe I think the way Amir broke the numbers down is perfect. You take 1 away from NA, 2 away from EU, and then just distribute them accordingly around the other places, right? I think that was perfect. But EU already lost like some spots. For example, Crim's team, I think the Saudi Arabian team, if I'm not mistaken, that team is going to qual. Like they are really good. And that team, their region, whatever, being added to EU, that's already taken up a spot. And that's like, that doesn't even include any other teams that might have been added that also may take a spot. Which is why I was saying, taking all 3 of our spots plus adding a whole nother region onto ours. It's basically the same thing that's happened to like Amir in Mexico. They lost a spot because they've added a bunch more regions. So it then becomes harder to qualify. That was like a part of what I was saying. But going on from that, the EU Open quals were chalked. Like unbelievably chalked. I mean, bro, you remember back in Verdansk, bro, TKR days, you remember the Egypt lobbies? Well, those Egypt lobbies are now qualifying against us, bro.
Listen, man, Gary, if you're watching this, Gary, I want my 50K from the fucking Chipotle. You know what you did, Gary. You know what you did, Gary. I want my 50K. Anyways,
Crazy.
continue.
Yeah, those TKR, bro. What to Stu Kawaki?
Yeah, word to Stu. Diaz wants his gold bar back. You know.
But yeah, nah, I mean those quals, because I mean we all know how like Activision matchmaking works, right? It's like it's connection based, prioritized. So if you have people, it's all based on population density at the very base level. So if you have these guys from regions where population density is low, especially on like COD, they were getting the absolute juicer lobbies. Like, bro, AJ and them. I mean, AJ lives 5 minutes down the road from me, and he's playing in Lebanon. Like what? How? How's that fair? Bro, they played like 8 games the first day and then hung it up and finished first. Like what the fuck? Bro, our 4th best game was in a game with them where they had 67 kills. That's how bad the lobby was. We somehow got in their lobby, and our like 4th best game was in a game where they had 67 kills.
Oh my
the
God.
lobby room was so bad.
Wow. I mean, bro, like, okay, what do you guys think about this? Amir, Gromalok, FIFA, I want y'all's opinion. We talked about this yesterday on the podcast, I'm going to continue to reiterate until hopefully Call of Duty like continues to hopefully innovate. But the only bad part about the entire World Series of Warzone was the open quals. That's it. Like everything they improved so much shit. I think it's amazing right now. The way we like all the stages lose round 1, round 2. Like I just think it's great. They could obviously improve the site for the expansion regions, the way they qual. I definitely think that needs improvement for sure. But the open quals, right? Do you guys see a world where they do the Fortnite system? Have y'all seen how Fortnite does theirs?
No.
Okay. It's fucking crazy. So the way they do it, picture like a ranked mode for only 6 hours, right? Everybody starts off at 0 and
Instead
at least
of just a playlist.
Yeah, it's a playlist, right? It's a playlist.
Yeah.
Is this like the like Cash Cup qualifiers?
Yes,
like FNCS?
Cash Cups.
Oh,
so
okay.
you play for 5 hours or 6 hours, and then back when maybe they changed it, but back when I was trying to compete, you had only 10 games that you could play, right? You go into a game, and however many points you get, the very next game you only get matched up against people of similar points, and then you only have 10 games, so you kind of have to min-max how good you do, and then from there they grab the top. Let's say Friday is like 5,000, and after that Saturday 1,000, and then Sunday Championship Sunday or whatever.
And I think the time frame wasn't even enough to play out 10
end games. Yeah, most of the time the teams that were getting end game, they weren't playing out 10 games.
Chalked.
You had to literally suck to use all 10.
Yeah, the only thing with that is that's kind of a concern is that before for Fortnite it was like NA West, NA East, and then they like split up their regions. So ping might be like an issue, you know, maybe if, I don't know what Europe, like what's a pretty central for EMEA, what's a pretty central like server for everybody?
I'd say like somewhere around like Germany, Italy, somewhere around there.
Okay, Germany, yeah. What kind of ping would you be getting?
I would get like 40, 50, maybe 60.
Okay.
And then
that's manageable, right? Like you wouldn't be upset about that. Okay.
No, I mean,
so
I
like
played on
everybody
that before,
in NA would have to be playing on Dallas server probably, or some kind of central server. Then they could be playing on Germany server, so that everybody connects to the same server. There's no bullshit, like no like they're playing over here and you're playing over here. Like everybody would be in the same lobby for the most part. I think that would be great.
That's what we were saying while we were playing the quals. I mean, I didn't know that was like a thing in Fortnite.
Yeah,
we just said have a set few servers that everyone queues into for that weekend.
Right.
Well, I think that system would probably work really well. Obviously, I think the only way that COD is going to continue, they're going to continue with the current system. I don't think they're ever going to do that. I think the only way that makes sense with our current system is if they doubled the players. So instead of like top 80 get in, it would be like top 160, and you'd be like, oh shit, players will get in, whatever. So what? Like at least everyone that is supposed to like get in is in. And then you do this group play, and then we'll find out, you know? Yeah. Not this pub, oh, they got in, like you said, he just happened to live there. No, that would erase all that because, like, if you went to top 160, like, what is the score for top 160? You know, like, you're making it in. You don't need to do no funny business if you're good, and you're going to make it in, true. And then you'll find out in pub, like, in customs, and it'd be twice as many groups or whatever. But so what? Yeah. Like, we just start a couple weeks earlier or whatever the fuck, you know?
Like, imagine that system.
That's a lot simpler.
Bro, imagine that system, boys, where like, you know, we could have, we don't have to go crazy, and EU can have their own cash cups every week, right? Like, I don't even think they do anything crazy amount of money every week now. It's not like anything Fortnite, right?
They do like 5 or 10Ks, and we're doing that with the Warzone Total Frenzy thing.
Right. Like you could do that in that type of environment, and think about how dope that would be. Again, it might be, I don't know how all this shit works, right? But it could be a lot of upfront cost, but then you do it once, and then that's it. Like it costs you no money to just run it. Just put it in like, that'd be, from now on, we would do that for, even if we wanted to throw little tournaments, Activision would throw it through in-game. And I believe it is possible because back in, we had, what game was it where Game Battles was integrated into the game? IW,
yeah.
it was integrated into the game. So it definitely is possible. Again, I don't know who was at the Raven playtest.
I was there.
Ranked?
Yeah, the ranked one.
Yeah, I was there.
Do y'all remember when
I won that shit, baby. Come on. You want to talk, baby?
Oh, no, not that one. The other one. The one for Resurgence.
I don't think FIFA
Oh,
was there.
I wasn't there. I wasn't.
No, I wasn't there.
I was
for
there.
that.
I was there.
So just for
Yeah,
context.
we know you were there, bro.
Yeah.
Resurgence Glazer.
Dude, me?
Nah, Ebatez.
Oh, I was like, what?
Ebatez is the reason I'm still playing Rebirth this season,
Yeah,
bro.
That shit was
fuck
gas.
Ebatez.
Hey,
Ebatez is the dog.
season 2 was
Shame on
gas.
you,
Season
bro.
2 was gas. I can't lie. Fortune's Keep was fire. All right, don't cook me for Rebirth. I told him not
Listen,
to put
man.
Rebirth. Hey,
Ebatez, Joe, and
this
Lucky.
season's
They're
on
the
Lucky
reason we
Shine.
got
Yeah,
Rebirth
yeah.
ranked.
100% Joe. I think I have more time played in ranked than Joe. That's
no, Joe played day one. Joe played day one with me and Skull. Didn't touch it after.
Oh my God. I'm so
I just remember, bro, when Fortune's Keep rank got announced, I was like, we're never getting big map. It's over. They're going down this route. And I just remember seeing Lucky like, this shit's fire. And then it came out, never played it. I was like, nah, bro, I'm done with this shit, bro.
We're all losing our minds on fucking Rebirth ranked. Shit,
Crazy.
man. No, but going back to what I was saying was, but bro, like the last question, they were like, oh, we have time for one more question. Even so, I remember, I go, I don't give a fuck. I look stupid, but I was like, yo, chances of like cash cups ever coming into the, and they literally laughed at me, bro.
Yeah.
I was like this,
They're
bro.
like, next question.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying, Fuck,
The
man.
only issue I see doing like the Fortnite format is that you don't have to stream whenever you play those from Fortnite. You don't have to stream. So there's like a guy right now that his name is Spearbot, and everyone thinks he shits, but he doesn't need to stream it. So it's a big it's a big controversy there, and I don't think it will be. I think those controversies will be huge here in Warzone. So that's
sure.
like you need to put a rule that you need to stream, but that will be so hard to track all the players. I don't know, it's difficult.
Payset is coming back, I heard.
That's crazy,
He's
bro.
locked.
Oh man. Well, boys, look, man. I don't want to take too much of y'all's time. I think we kind of tackled everything we needed to tackle today. Again, I mean, I think where we go from here, right? What's next? How do we grow the scene together? And FIFA, I'm all ears, bro. Again, guys, like I in the group chat, we have it there for a reason. So let me know what y'all want to do. JGOD, go ahead.
I'll also add my suggestion basically cost them nothing. They don't televise any of the open format or any of that garbage anyways. Like, it literally cost them nothing. Even if they put it on their B stream or wherever the hell for the group stages. Like, I don't even think they're going to have casters for that. Remember last year they really didn't, right? And we just watch partied all of it. So realistically, it doesn't cost them anything just to say, you know what, let's make sure we have the best possible people here. Yeah. Because I know there's people that even when we looked at this leaderboard, it doesn't put a lot of faith in the product when you have, like, I know we were joking about it, but that the top fragger for NA was like somebody that no one's ever heard of, right? Like
Princess Warzone and EU
hacking.
And
EU hacking.
And then there's a couple other groups where, but they're still on the fucking leaderboards.
Bro,
like what? Like that should have been like whoop gone because you know there's people sitting
stream sniped in regional finals last year by a cheat. Bro, I got stream sniped in a 150k final by a hacker in the final. Like, bro, nah.
Bro, the thing is, I'm kind of curious as to what that's gonna happen. What's gonna happen there, boys? Because look at Enkyo, like with the whole like cheat ranked and shit. Like they're not. I don't know what's going on, but they're not banning hackers in ranked. And I mean, bro, there's that little part of me that's scared.
Well, that's a little bit different because it's boosting, right? Like I know we throw the term hacking.
The Sosa guy who's number one is actually hacking.
He's actually hacking. Okay, because I know people have been saying hacking for some other people, but it's like they're using a boosting service, which technically isn't hacking. It is a boosting. It's still fucked up,
but they are removing some people who did the boosting shit though. So it's like weird. How
which is
like
weird.
Flip floppy.
Like
why take some people and not others, especially number one in the world? Like, Enkyo loses a 1-1 to that guy after a whole season. This doesn't make sense.
Bro, like,
that one hurt.
For the leaderboards right now, it's top 80. How many do you think you're gonna get cut from your region? Like they're gonna magically disappear off the leaderboard?
How many cheaters
We-
is what he's asking.
Wait, for rank play?
No,
for the
quals.
World Series
for
EU.
the quals. Because for NA, there's for
think
sure
it's
the
like
2
6.
teams, but some people are saying up to 6.
I think NA's 6.
Wow.
Holy
Well,
shit!
It's,
Okay.
it's so weird as well because they say they're going to punish people for VPNing, but they just don't.
No.
Didn't I thought
Like last-
Control
well,
got banned
no,
last year?
Bro, Control got caught, but he didn't get disqualified. He played last chance quals.
What?
As far as I that's what I was told. I got told he was still in it.
I don't remember. It was. I mean,
I mean, that's what I was told when I was talking about it. Because I was like, oh, it's fine. He'll get disqualified if he does it again. Because the first 3 games of the Open Quals this year, they were in first place by like a mile, and then someone called them out, and then after that they were struggling. So it was like, whatever. But then someone was like, oh, they didn't get banned last year. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but that's just what my chat told me.
Damn. If that's true, holy shit. So like, see, that's the question, right, boys? Do you think that there's going to be a couple teams that slip through? I would assume tomorrow we get a list. I don't think they're going to go into the weekend and we don't get a list, right? I would assume tomorrow we get a list of everybody competing. And do you think that there's going to be a couple teams that slip through that could be cheating?
Hector, I
Yeah,
got
possible,
stream
yeah.
sniped in a regional final by a cheater. Of course there's going to be people that slip through. But I don't think you understand. These motherfuckers landed outside Side City, got their loadout, got in a heli, and chased me around with RPGs on the heli.
Wait, what?
I was playing for 150 grand, bro.
Bro,
In a
actually,
custom?
no.
Yeah, in the regional
Yeah, it was in a
final,
custom. He's
EU
saying there was a
last year.
hacker stream sniper in a custom.
Because he killed, bro, they flew on me first circle. I got triple RPG'd out of a heli. I was like, what the fuck? And then I saw the guy's name, and it was, I'm not going to say his name. No one else should. But I saw the guy's name. I was like, what the fuck? That guy was stream sniping me in ranked yesterday. And like, he was like cheating. And he was in my chat talking all this shit. And then I went back and I checked. It was the same guy. And then it turned out he was just stream sniping me in the World Series. Like, in
Did
the
he
stream,
qual or he just happened to sneak in?
He qualled. He qualled.
What?
Damn.
He
missed this?
qualled and then, bro, that is some fucking S tier fucking commitment right there. Like, dude, that guy don't
So
fuck
he-
with you, FIFA. Wait,
Oh,
So he
guys
just
are
took the
dumb.
time to qual to fuck you over on the finals.
Passion,
Bro,
bro.
you know how, Hector, you know how checked I was, bro? First game I'm loading in. EU Finals, Regional 1, 150k. Boom. The guy had stream sniped me the whole day before. I was like, am I tripping? Like, what the fuck?
no
How did he get-
way.
How did he get through?
He got, I don't know. I mean, I guess he qualified.
Like because
just through the
there was
TKR.
qualifier right before, right? It was a
Yeah,
custom
I mean,
before.
they weren't terrible. They weren't like awful players.
Okay, so that's crazy.
So wait, so were they cheating or they were just dickheads?
Well, the guy, he was hacking on me in ranked.
Bro, okay, now that makes me infinitely more scared for whenever we get our full teams list. And if that's true, then that means that even if you do qual, you could be yacked, which is kind of fucking crazy. I would assume the big ones.
I mean, that 100% happened. I can tell you more about it off stream because there's
Yeah.
like a whole deeper thing to it. But yeah, it was fucking insane.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well,
I have a question actually. Do you guys think that Meeks was cheating last year? Because he was on LAN, right?
He
Was he
laughs.
hacking?
Graham, tell me, Graham, tell me.
No, but
Like that
Mix,
whole like
I don't
that
know,
team, they
so,
got
yeah.
third. They got third in stage 2. They were like the best, and then they got like what 40th on LAN. And like he had like previous suspicions. No.
Nah, but mix is a big subject in Europe. No one knows exactly, but I couldn't pronounce myself. I don't know, but yeah, they were playing very good online, like very very good. And after I don't know, but I don't know. He's not a good player, so I don't know how. No.
So wait.
Meeks is already in chip from the Naftix thing too,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right, that's
He
what I'm
was
saying.
Yeah.
You know about that, Hector?
No, give me the lore. Give me the lore for nobody who
Okay,
knows.
So
Oh my God.
Naftix and Meeks were like, you know, two peas in a pod, whatever. They were like boys.
And Vision.
so
Don't forget Vision. They're best friends.
Whoa, Ebates. Let's not do that. But anyway, rewind. Back in Caldera, when everyone was doing like all the side bang and the wages and all the crazy money wages and shit.
Oh, I know where this is going.
The side bet chat. So Naftix and them would place a bet on a player to lose, and then they would go and stream snipe them on alt accounts to make them lose the wager. These guys, bro, it'd be like Almond and Trey playing for $1,000 each. And they would place like $500 bet, like, oh, I think Almond's gonna lose, and then they would go and stream snipe Almond on alt to make him lose the wager, and they would rig the bet basically. And they did this for thousands and thousands of dollars over like months, and then eventually, I think it was Tommy caught them. And then Naftex just shut down his word, disappeared. And Meeks was like his best friend. They were always in it, like whatever, but it was never proven whether he was like in on it or not. So it was always just kind of like an awkward one.
That was crazy.
Damn, I heard about that. I just didn't put two and two together to see who exactly it was. So
I mean,
this
it could
guy,
be like guilty by association. Maybe he was innocent, but I mean,
Right.
it's pretty weird that, you know, I mean,
So
it
this-
just seems odd.
this
He was already
guy.
a part of like an odd situation, and then yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy was him online, like him, and then came to LAN and got 40th.
Nah, he was.
Yeah, but you can
it
say
was
that about
not
Donkey as
him.
well, though.
True.
But Donkey hasn't been associated to anything else that's like weird, you know? Like he's not like a weird kid, you know what I mean? And like I feel like weird people kind of they have a
he's
pattern.
pretty weird.
All right, well, whatever he sends you in the DMs off stream is not, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with the conversation.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like I feel like just people that are weird that would hack in a video game for money, or like have a pattern of like, you know, okay,
Yeah.
they've done this, then they've done this. It's just like a weird pattern.
With
you
some
know?
weird shit. I think it's weird as well though, because like, you know, they're not really in a lot of our groups. They're like the Dutch guys or whatever, so it's like hard to say. Because Dongy, when he in that first qual, they came out and everyone was like, "Who the fuck is that, bro?" Like a Nianfu or a Vonbot, and everyone thought they were cheating. And then Dongy's just really fucking good. Same with Von.
Yeah.
I don't know who their third was. I don't know where he went. What was his name? Their
Nofo?
third last year?
No foe.
Nofo, that was it. But
Wait, that was
yeah,
his
so I
real
don't know.
team? I actually don't even remember that. Wow.
Last year, Donkey was with Nofo and Vonbot.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's why it was like a big deal because he fucking went crazy. I can't lie. Like he went
He
insane.
went crazy. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well, I mean, look, man. Boys, I wanted to. I guess my next topic or whatever is I kind of just want to know, where do we go from here, right? With everything that we've learned today and all the feedback. Which again, I'm really happy, FIFA, Gromalok, Amir, that you guys came on, because this is growth, in my opinion. Like, right. We find problems in the competitive scene, whether it be in NA, EU, it doesn't matter, right? We all fucking love Call of Duty. Now, how can we improve the scene from here? What do we do, right? So I guess that's the question. Maybe we need to talk in the group chat more and to see what everybody wants to do. But kind of what is the next step? I guess, Fif, is us talk in the group. Yo, ask this question is, do we split NA and EU scrims? And then two, if they say yeah, then obviously once June 20th happens, from all of July, regardless, I don't know when it'll be. I would assume it wouldn't be July. It would have to be either August or September, the LAN, right? We would do quals with everybody involved, and then we'd have to decide another thing of, okay, how do we host this, right?
Yep.
So is that kind of, you think, the next steps?
I mean, from my point of view, I think, a case of like very openly asking people what they're expecting from this point on, what they think would be useful. And then from there, obviously, you know, we're kind of short on time with the World Series coming up.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be that much time to practice anything at this stage. But I think going forwards, even next year, I think there should be more, you know, opportunity, qualifiers, scrimming, practicing throughout the year. Because if we enable it, people will do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But there needs to be like a roadmap. There needs to be like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, hey, we're going to host these scrims. You're going to play them. You're going to get better. And then there's going to be a World Series at the end of the year. I think this year and, you know, previous years, it's just been so hazy, especially for a lot of the EUs, whether they're going to get to compete, how much they're going to get to compete for. Is it going to be invited? Are they going to have a good chance to actually play it with a good team? It's just been so many question marks for a long time. So I think just having like a set roadmap for people to actually set out and strive to get better at the game and improve.
Okay. All right. Gromalok, anything for you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd say to the main thing right now for EU, that's why we're struggling, is because EU is split. You have like more than half that are screaming to qualify for LAN, and the other half is screaming to do well at LAN, you know? So that's why you have some EU team trying to get into the NA scrims, because they want to play against B4, Almond and everything, because they're already thinking about the last event, the LAN. But you have the majority is trying to qualify, so they don't want to pay and play and waste their time, you know, in NA scrims, because it's not correlated to the qualifier for them, you know.
Right.
So I think right now the best thing to do would be to do EU only, because you have only like 10 team that want to scrim against NA players, And then after, I don't think ping is going to be a problem when you have the final list for the LAN, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think ping is going to be a problem. But
Okay.
right
It
now,
almost ends up being
that's
bad
why-
practice, right? Because if they go into it, they already know that like that their lobbies are going to probably be easier, but
Yeah.
you can lose confidence going against some of the best teams.
It's weird.
Exactly.
NA
Yeah.
and EU play so different, bro. Like back in the day, I remember we used to jump in at NA custom and we'd fry. Me, Juki's LAN, me, Juki's Wars, whatever. Bro, we'd play in EU. It was so hard. Like people just play so different. Especially back then, there was a lot of MNK snipers. Like, bro, trying to play the Russians back in Verdansk was impossible, bro. Like, it was just hard. But like, they play so differently fundamentally. I remember the Duos World Series in Verdansk. Everyone in EU used the Gallo shotgun. It was terrible. And then the NA one happened the day afterwards, and Aiden was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run the shotgun," and he was just getting smoked by people with SMGs, and no one used it. And it was like, "What the fuck are we doing?" I think it's because of like, again, like a lot of mouse and key players, but also a lot of like, it's just a different play style, and I think it will throw a little spanner in the works into like those NA lobbies when they come around to it.
Okay. All right. Now, Amir, what is something that you kind of think we can improve on, or are you kind of okay right now with the practice scene of it all? Like, I know obviously you guys are allowed into scrims and stuff like that. Is there anything that myself and Ebatez can do better for you guys for the Latin America side of things, or how can we improve?
I think we're good. Maybe just like you remember you messaged me like asking for like vouching for some other teams. I think that's pretty good. I will say whenever like all the teams we already know who are the teams that called. I like what FIFA said that you can split the host then because like it's pretty much equal EU teams, NA teams. I think that's pretty good idea. And I would say like don't sleep on the boats. We should get votes on how many maps we want to play for the last part of the qualifier. I think that's pretty important.
Okay. All right. And then JGOD, Ebatez, any final thoughts, or do you guys think we kind of covered everything?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I wasn't sure if you were going to
Got
say
nothing?
anything. No, I think we covered pretty much most of the stuff. I think, yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what was said in terms of that. I think most people just like ideally just want the scene to be bigger.
Right.
And that involves inviting more players because then that's how people get recognized. Even though, like, for example, like no disrespect in this way, but before the World Series of Warzone, even though Dusamir had a big following, at least in Mexico, I hadn't heard of Dusamir. And I think those opportunities of them performing well, and then we're like, oh shit, he had 14,000 viewers or something crazy, or probably more than that. And it's like, okay, who's this? And then now we know him and we see him and we expect them to do well. So I think there's a lot of these people that may be less known to NA audience or even EU, just because maybe they haven't had the opportunity or haven't been exposed to those audiences where they can have huge pop off and everyone's like, oh shit, we have to worry about them, you know? And I think by having more opportunities, you less, you know, the real, you know, the best players shine at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, boys, again, I'm glad we had this discussion, man. I'm glad that we could kind of move the scene forward, even if it's like 1 step, 2 steps forward, right? But look, man, any competitors in here that are in the group chat, we will be talking about it right now. After I get off, we'll talk about it. We'll just all have a big discussion on what we see going forward. We're probably going to be splitting the scrims, and then I know Insight does y'all scrims, right? And they do them every day. Okay, and they've been feeling right. You guys like?
I think one
Yeah.
thing is a struggle is like when there's 2 scrims every day or whatever, or even bro, $25 for a scrim every day for a lot of people is expensive.
Right.
Especially if they're not winning. Like if you're sitting there like, okay, I kind of want to try and improve, but I know I'm not going to win for a month. $25 every day for a month losing just to the hope you get.
Yeah,
better.
crazy.
It's fucking expensive, bro. Like that's you're going in the hole.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
So, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, for a lot of, you know, for us, we have the pleasure of, you know, we have content and streams and communities that back us up. And then at the end of the grind, we might have a 10K tournament that we don't have to pay to enter that we might be able to win money back from. But for a lot of people, that's not the case. And those entry fees stack up a lot. So again, you know, like you said, a cash cup sort of thing, or maybe like some Activision like juice to, you know, give us some scrims or whatever. something, or lower entry fees maybe for like, sometimes people that maybe can't afford as much get to jump in on. That would be nice too, maybe for some of those guys.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's actually some feedback we've gotten. Today's scrim for the ones that we hosted was they wanted in the feedback in the group chat, they said they wanted one high roller a week. But I'm be honest, maybe it was bad timing because EU scrims were happening at the same time, and then that S&D tournament and all that combination, we got 34 teams out of, but we were aiming for 40, right? So I think tomorrow for the NA scrims, obviously, if we do decide to split them, will be probably like $5 from here going out. Like the biggest thing is we have to find a balance between how do we make the top dogs want to try, right? Because they won't do it for free. Will they do it for $5? Or would they do it for 10, right? Like what makes them want to try, right? And then, but at the same time, how do we let in the people that are trying to, let's say qualified, but don't have, $20 every day to just throw? I mean, $2,000 at the end of, right? Or however much that is at the end of a month, right? It turns into a lot, right? So we're balancing that out, and I'll ask them. I think 5 to 10 is a sweet spot. And which another thing we'll talk about. But all that to say, man, it is FIFA, Gromalok, Amir, Mr. Ebatez, and JGOD. Thank you guys, as always, man, from everybody in the competitive scene for helping us push the scene forward, bro. I'm hoping one day we can get a league or the competitive scene that we deserve, right? But appreciate all of you guys hopping on. And for real, man, chat, anybody watching, appreciate you guys as always tuning in. And boys, any final thoughts?
No, man. I just hope that we can grow World Series and competitive Warzone. I think there's definitely a need for it, and I think a lot of people love it, and it legitimizes people. I mean, like Amir even, who did really well in LAN last year, and I think that's good to have. He's a creator, but at the end of the day, if he wants to be recognized as one of the best, he can prove it. And that's like through World Series. Yeah, we have so many creators who are like, oh, #1 Rebirth, Demon, I'm the best in the world, but they don't have a way to legitimize that. Because they have like VPNs or whatever. So that's why I like World Series, because it's great to say like that people like Amir can prove that they are the best and one of the biggest creators. You know what I mean? So
who are you talking
that's
about?
What, I don't know. I hope we can just continue to grow the brand, man. I really do. I think competitive Warzone is a real thing. How
you really feel, bro? Say some fucking names.
Dude, fuck you. You guys all fucking suck. And I'm just playing. I'm just playing. No, anyways, at the end of the day, hopefully we continue to grow World Series.
If World Series of Warzone in NA, are you guys going to go on the mic and be like, NA sucks? Copy Brax? No?
Ooh, y'all should. Y'all should.
If you win a game? No.
Right, if I win a game of World Series, I'm picking up the mic and telling everyone that was an absolute masterclass.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Why did you say it like that?
That's insane. That's very zesty. Very zesty.
Oh, man. All right, boys. Well, again, appreciate you guys hopping on, man. Everybody at home, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Pullze Check podcast. And stay tuned because we have another one very, very soon when they announce all the group stages. Boys, good luck next week in the group stages, and we'll see you in scrims. Everybody at home, we love you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, baby. Peace!